Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do an updated Force character guide on Garnet, and this is really significant because she is introducing Force Echo, so very excited to do this guide for y'all. I just put out my beginner's guide to Force Echo, so if you want a really good understanding of what Force Echo is, how to use it, I do a nice little demonstration of it and absolutely destroy a fight. I'm actually really excited to do the current Bahamut fight, so I can really have a boss that's really tanky to really show off the mechanic. So look forward to a video on that as well. But in this video, we're going to do a character guide on Garnet. Now, I'm going to treat this as if you don't know anything about her, so I'm going to go through everything. But the big thing for those of you that are already familiar with Garnet, we'll talk about the Force conditions, we'll demonstrate her Force Echo and all of that in this video. So we're going to look at her calls, her artifacts, and her spheres. Those of you who are not familiar with Garnet, she is hands down one of the best support characters in the game. She is a water and lightning damage character, and she does enchant Imperil for both elements, so she's got that, which is really good. She does a lot of battery, she does a lot of healing, she has off-turn attacks, and she has insane auras. So Garnet, you just cannot go wrong with her. If you get her, definitely full invest, full build her. She's a character that I don't see aging poorly at all. She's already aged very well. She's been very usable and very good for the past year, and now is getting an update here and is really, really good again. She's a character, and being that she's the first Force Echo character, or one of the first Force Echo characters, you just can't go wrong with investing in her, because now you've got access to Force Echo early in its era, which I think is very good. So a very, very worthwhile character to invest in, and you're going to see just how good she is in this video, right? So let's start by looking at her calls. Her calls are actually solid. Her 15 call Aquamarine, this is going to enchant the caller and imperil the enemy, so if you do need to get a little water enchant, you can do that. Her LD call is basically going to do an HP damage up and overflow for the caller, which is good. It also does do a big AoE attack, so that's very good. It does do some brave gain, it does restore HP, so it does a lot of the good things that you want a call to do. Now the other thing that happens is when she comes in, I believe she's also going to apply her Holy Prayer buff, which is a very good 10-turn buff. So yeah, I think her calls are actually very good. So you definitely could find use for her call, but she's excellent in the party. So especially if you're a newer player, if you don't have the likes of Penelo, Lunafreya, whatever, she's a very good unit to put in, and she works well with those characters as well. So let's go and look at her artifacts and her spheres. So for her artifacts, and by the way, this is a ridiculously fully maxed out Garnet, is pretty much as built up as you can have her, right? You want to do 3 attack 108 and Princess Resolve boost. Princess Resolve boost is basically going to increase all your stats by 5% at the end of a wave. Typically, anytime a character has that C50 passive where it boosts all their stats, you always want that, right? So that's what you want to go with for Garnet there. You can see I got 3 of those on. Then for spheres, you've got a lot of options you can do. So in the A slot, you want attack or brave damage, or combos with attack and brave damage, or attack max brave, or magic attack up. So Aerith would be a pretty good magic attack up, for example, that you could throw down. Any of those are going to be good. I opted for Rydia because when you're doing weakness damage, you get brave damage and attack. So Garnet will always be hitting weakness damage. As I mentioned before, she's going to enchant Imperil for 2 different elements. So she's always going to have that. So I think Rydia is just a really great spot for Garnet. So I threw that one down. The C slot, Garnet's own is actually very good. She does heal fairly consistently. And so it's going to give her a 10% attack up. So just a very good solid attack up. In general, if you're going for an attack sphere, 10% is a really nice kind of boundary to go by, right? If you can get 10% or better on brave damage attack, that's always very good. Now on the combo ones where you're getting 2 stats, you're usually looking at 5% each, which is still very good. But there are some insane ones I think the Raigen's a 20% physical attack up. So there are some very high percentage one. I think there's an evasion one that's 20%. I think it's 8s. But once again, evasion isn't an easy trigger. But yeah, I would say 10% is usually your standard. If you can get 10% or better, definitely go for it, right? Then on the D slot, you just want any attack raising one for the party. So Ashe, Saz, Lise, Hope, Lunafreya, any of those are going to be good. Ashe is just what I had at the time, and it's a good party attack up. I would shout out Lunafreya because that is a weakness damage trigger, which Garnet can hit very easily. So if you got extra Lunafreya D slots, so you can definitely throw that down. Waka, who I just did a character guide on him, his sphere is one of the best D spheres, but you got to be carrying 5 buffs, right? And Garnet can't consistently do that. You're going to need some help, so I don't really recommend Waka there. I would say just do Lunafreya, Ashe, Saz, Lise. Any of those are just fine. Hopes is probably a really good shout out because that's going to be a party max brave and attack, which is like what Waka's does, but Hopes is going to be easier for her to trigger, right? So that's the spheres. Let's go ahead and hop into the showcase. Yeah, my Garnet, my girl. Oh, just very excited. I love Garnet. She's just been so good, and her having Echo now is a reason for me to just use her a lot, right? I don't really care about the friend unit. We'll bring that just in case, but we're not really going to need it here. So yeah, we're just going to go through and kind of show off the kit here and show what she does. So Garnet is a stance-based character, so she basically has water stance and thunder stance. 20% battery warning. Of course, it's been a busy night for videos. If you've been keeping up with my channel, I've maybe uploaded a few videos tonight. So sure, we got the battery warning, but 20%, we can get through the showcase. We can get it done. So let's quick prayer Garnet. Yes, let's just do that right away. And then I'm not going to go, I guess we can ramp a little bit. But let's go through this first quick prayer phase with Garnet just to see some basic attacks. And then we will jump into and like do the big Mamma Jamma setup. Sure, we can do BT effect right now though. Well, no, because I want to do LD spam later. So let's just do this. So one thing you'll notice about Garnet is she does have an overhead buff. So this overhead is called Pumice Eidolon. She does start with it, and you can see it's at 4 stacks right now. Basically, she's going to give herself weakness damage up, HP damage up, brave gains up, overflow up for both, and then party elemental weakness damage up, brave gains and more HP damage up for the party, and overflow for the party. So there's a lot stacked into that. Now, this is also a stacking buff, and what'll happen basically is any enemy or party action will give it 1 stack. And then when an action is taken when it's at 4 stacks, it is going to basically drop bombs from the sky, do like a big off-turn attack, which is just a really nice bonus on her kit to make her really good. Now, she is going to start with a free ability use. Basically, this is so you can choose a stance. So if you do Aquamarine, you're going Water stance. If you're going to do Thunder Flash, you're going to be in Thunder stance. Now, I normally open in Water stance, and I usually stay in Water stance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start Thunder and just show you the attack. So like here's Peridot Thunder Flash. All right, and we just did 500k AoE, and then that bomb from the sky, basically, that is from her having 4 stacks. Now you see her overhead went down to 1 stack, but she's still getting all the buffs from the overhead. The only thing the stacks matter for is when those bombs are going to drop, right? Which, it's just very good. And dude, those things come during a force time. They do so much damage. It's very, very good, right? So, let's talk about Peridot Thunder Flash. So, it is a high turn rate, so she can possibly jump turns when you use it. It does do a party battery, and the reason why we emphasize attack so much on Garnet, her battery and brave gain scale on attack. So, Garnet isn't like a top tier damage dealer or anything, but boy does she battery really well and supports well, and she can output some damage herself with those bombs, right? So what's going to happen is if she's in the other stance, it's going to remove that, and then it's going to apply the Thunder stance, right? And then she gets Max Brave up, and it does do a Thunder Imperil on the enemies. Her Thunder stance, let's just look at that buff really quick. So it is going to Thunder Enchant her, it is going to Max Brave up, it is going to Party Attack up, and Max Brave up. Basically, think of Thunder stance as the more offensive stance, which is why I actually prefer Aquamarine stance. So let's go into Aquamarine stance. Okay. And dude, 800k AoE, very good there. So Aquamarine is going to Brave Gain scaled off of attack, AoE water attack, it batteries the party, and it removes Thunder stance and adds Water stance. And then it also does a party Brave Gain up, and then it does do a water resist down on the enemies, right? And so here's the thing. When it removes the stance, it doesn't remove like the basic buffs, right? So the Max Brave up and the Brave regen we got from each one, those are both still up. And the enemies have lightning and water resist down, so they'll carry both the Imperils. All that we lost was the Thunder stance buff. So the Thunder stance buff that did the Thunder Enchant, the Max Brave, the Party Attack, and Max Brave, that is now gone. But now we replace that with the Water stance. So now it's Water Enchant 30%, Max Brave up, and then this is Party Max Brave and I Brave. So yes, we lose Party Attack and we lose Party Max Brave, but we still get Max Brave, actually a higher Max Brave, but we're basically swapping out attack for I Brave, which I know isn't the greatest, but here's the thing. I see Garnet more as a support character than an offense character, and her battery is like so good. And I consider her water stance like her battery stance. Like the battery is a lot better. Now I know a lot of her battery scales on attack, but the impact of having the iBrave Max Brave combo in that stance, it just works out so well. So I usually stay in water stance personally. But you can use thunder stance when you need it. All right, so with that, I guess we've done the 15, the 35. We do need to show off the EX at some point, but let's pop the LD. So this is Eternal Darkness. And watch the overhead. The overhead right now is at 2 stacks. The LD is, the overhead comes from the LD. So let's pop Eternal Darkness. And let's see what the damage looks like here. This should be some pretty good damage. Yeah, 800k AoE, not too bad. And notice the overhead jumped right up to 4 stacks. So what the LD does, dude, her page is so long with all of her info on it. So it does a party battery, and this one actually scales on Max Brave. Big AoE attack, and then another battery, which it's going to be based on the HP damage you do. And then it also has a heal on it. So her LD is pretty much her big burst heal if you need that on the spot. It does give her a skill use of skill 1 and skill 2, so it helps her longevity. And then what happens is it refreshes her overhead buff to 12 turns. So now you can see it refresh the 12 turns. And then it automatically put her up to 4 stacks right away. So we got all that going. So now let's go ahead and ramp. I'm not going to ramp all the way. So actually what I want to do, if I ramp too much, we're going to keep dropping bombs and do damage. So what I'm going to do is, sure, we'll just do Penelo's LD and pass turn. We'll just do an attack with Garnet and pass her turn. And then we're going to kind of do a Luna Freya setup with the, well, you know what? We're like way over buffed. So here's the thing. When I showcase with Penelo and Luna Freya, I always forget that I've got way too many buffs. So we won't worry about, we won't worry about going into like a crazy, like maxed out force time. We just want to show it off, right? So sure, let's go ahead and show off Garnet's BT right here, and then we'll ramp and we'll just use force. We won't be able to quick pair. There's too many buffs. We're running triple support here, so I should have thought about that, but we're all good. Let's drop the Divine Judgment down. We can talk about our burst attack here. So let's see the damage. We're comboing up with Aiko here. See what her damage looks like after her force boards, right? Like all her kit all got improved a little bit. I mean, not every part of her kit, but she did get some improvements, right? Okay, so what do we got there? Yeah, 1.1 mil. I mean, that's pretty standard for a burst attack, right? So what her burst effect does, let's take a look at it. So her burst effect is called Divine Judgment. Does a big AoE attack, as you saw there. So it's got, really, it's this 8-turn party buff that's really good. So it's a 50% attack up, 30% Brave gains, HP damage limit 30%, which is good. Brave damage 50%. HP damage up 20%, iBrave up 50%, that's going to up Brave gains a lot, Overflow up 30%, Brave gain of 30% of the HP damage at the end of the turn. This is really good and very helpful if you're doing like a launch setup, because it means you keep your battery up during launches and you just do insane damage on all the dumps, right? Garnet has always been very good with launch comps, or like if you do the Reigns. So maybe what I'll do here is we could pop a Reigns and show that off a little bit, but the Brave is just gonna stay really high, right? And then she has something very unique, which is when her BT runs out, she gets a unique follow-up attack called Immaculate Judgment, and then you get a gold buff on the party for Immaculate Judgment. It removes all parties' debuffs, so it's a party cleanse. It is a party battery. It does a big AoE attack. Brave damage limit up, HP damage up, Brave gain up. So here's the thing that's crazy. This Immaculate Judgment packs all of these really good buffs in it. So granted, her BT effect wears off and you lose the buffs, but what you could do potentially with Garnet, that isn't kind of the traditional way you'd run it, but if you were willing to give up a burst phase, right, you could go into Garnet's normal burst phase, get her BT effect, and then when that BT runs out, Immaculate Judgment will drop, you'll get the gold buff, and then you could use her just BT attack, reapply the burst effect. You can have the burst effect and the Immaculate Judgment at the same time. Now you could do it the other way, where you use the burst attack first, let it expire out, which is the traditional way, get Immaculate Judgment, and then use her BT phase. The thing is I believe during her BT phase, well, maybe it wouldn't. I'm not sure actually if that buff would go down or not during a BT phase, but the rest of the party would have it either way. So if you don't combo them together, like back to back, you could let one run out, go into the Immaculate Judgment. What I've done before personally is I have actually used like the green burst attack first, and then you go into her burst phase when her burst effect maybe has like 5 turns left on it. The burst buff does go down during her own burst phase. And then what would happen is it would run out mid-burst phase. She'll pop Immaculate Judgment mid-burst phase. You'll get the gold buff on the party. And then as soon as that burst phase ends, she's going to refresh her BT buff. And you'll have her BT and her gold buff at the same time. Now, I don't know that I recommend doing that because she's not your main damage dealer. You want to do a different burst phase, but it's something you could do. When she dropped for 4th anniversary, that was actually very good to do because she was a top tier damage dealer at the time. She was very good to just use your own burst phase, right? So anyways, the Immaculate Judgment buff. So that's going to pop down, and I got to find it quick. Once again, her page is just humongous, but it's going to give a lot of party stats. Why can I not find Immaculate Judgment? She's got so much going on her page. Yeah, she does. Oh, there it is. Oh, my God. I'm like, where's the buff? So it's a big, fat 50% attack up, 50% eye brave up, overflow 30%, brave damage 50%, HP damage 20%, and then 30% brave gain of HP damage at the end of turn. Cannot be extended. It does go down during BT. Okay, it does say here on her chart. But you could have Immaculate Judgment comboed with the BT effect, and that is just insane, the amount of things you're doing, right? Okay, so let's get back to going into FR now. We do still have to show off her EX, by the way, which we'll get there. Honestly, her EX is a button I very rarely press. Yeah, and there's really no point. Yeah, dropping bombs. Really no point in me doing quick prayer, heavy prayer at this point, because, yeah, she's just got no room for the buffs. Sure, let's just do this, and we'll let Penelo ramp a little bit. And so what we'll do is we will use Garnet's Force so we can see it and I can explain it, and then we'll get one Force Echo attack off. What we might do is we might like show you a demonstration of using an Echo later in a fight, because in my beginner's guide I did the Echoes fairly early. So we could see the effect of doing it later in a fight, right? So let's just ramp up the rest of the way here. Actually, these enemies... yeah, we need to delete some turns here. And then actually what I could do is I could do Reigns and then like, well, I guess I don't need to use Reigns right this second because Garnet's right there. Maybe on Penelo's next turn I'll Reigns. Alright, let's keep ramping here. Sure, let's do this. I don't really need to use Intercession. It's just going to make the enemies squishier. They're just going to die quicker. Okay. That should be good. I should be able to pass turn now. So let's go ahead and let's just do an HP attack. Yep, okay, we're at 100%. Alright, so we're going to drop Garnet's Force. So let's do that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to do here. Nope, alright, let's just drop the Force. So this is G-Force 199 and Hellfire. Okay. So Hellfire is going to come from Braska. The G-Force is, I'm guessing, her giant ship. I'm trying to remember what this looks like. I did it in my last video. Just dropping a huge bomb from the sky. Okay. Alright, so 1.7 basically. That's really heavy damage. So let's talk about what this is doing. So it does a party battery scaled on Max Brave, AoE water and thunder attack, and then the HP damage condition. So basically if you do water or thunder damage, you get 30%, and that's with anybody. And then if Garnet is batterying, it's 40% more, so it's going to be 70% total. If it's another party member doing the battery, then it's 20%, giving you 50. So basically, if a non-Garnet character does water or thunder, which the 30% is basically for free because she enchants, the only way you don't get that is if you're using another character that already has an element. So as long as you're using non-elemental characters, you're going to get 30% for free. And then if you battery, you get 20%. So basically a character on your team that does battery, you get 50% up total. If Garnet does it, you get 70%. So that's basically her HP conditions, right? So let's go ahead and... oh yeah, let's drop the BT effect. We haven't done that yet, sure. I guess I could have Reigns there to bring Garnet up, but that's fine. We'll just get the gauge up a little bit. And Garnet should have her EX ready. Okay, so we'll pop that. So like Luna Freya there, actually, that might have been an ice attack, so we probably won't get full gain from that. Yeah, we didn't get full gain because that, once again, so that's a good example of, right? There's a character with an element, so her enchant doesn't come through, which is fine. I mean, I could do something crazy. No, let's take it a little bit. Oh, yeah, we gotta get BT effect, sure. Let's do the BT effect for Penelo. We'll let the enemies have a turn, but they shouldn't do anything too bad to us. And you can see our, like, Brave is just capped this whole time. Now, obviously, Penelo and Lunafreya are also helping with that, but Garnet alone can really self-sustain battery and Brave gain for your party. She's definitely, like, plenty good enough to be your only support character for sure. Okay. Yes, yes. There's a bomb dropping from the sky. So once again, these bombs are very impactful during force time because as you get the percentage up, like that bomb was already 1.4 mil and we've barely started this force time, right? Okay, so Garnet's up, so sure, let's do Holy Prayer. So we haven't done that yet. So Holy Prayer is going to be a free instant turn attack. It doesn't actually do damage. Just watch the animation here. It's going to do a big battery, big heal. We got 68 from it, still pretty good. So Holy Prayer is a big party battery, big party burst heal. She gets a free ability use on her next turn, and it is a free turn. It does give the party the Holy Prayer buff. So the Holy Prayer buff, I just got to find it, once again in her millions of buffs here. It is going to do a Water and Thunder enchant to the party. Attack up, HP damage up, Brave regen, scale off of iBrave, Brave gains up, Brave damage up, Overflow stolen, 80%, right? Now here's the thing, the Brave gains only comes if you're in Water stance, the Brave damage comes if you're in Thunder stance. So right now I'm getting the Brave gain up, but not the Brave damage up. Okay, now, so I could do Force here, but I want to go a little bit longer. So let's just do an attack. Let's just do Aquamarine. Alright, so now what I'm going to do with Penelo is we're going to simulate, like, let's say we go through this force naturally, and we get to, like, the very end of it, right? So let's do something like this, just to show you the impact of FR Echo here. So sure, let's go ahead and we will just do this. Now this won't be a huge gain here, because this is an ice attack. Yep, that was very weak, that's fine. Alright, so let's try this now with Penelo. Let's go ahead and just ramp a little bit. I know Fatal Dance is very tempting right now, but this isn't a Penelo showcase. So what I want to do is I just want to ramp. Yeah, I mean 75% ramps is fine. It's not as good as Penelo's own, but that's fine. Alright, so watch this now. And once again, this isn't like super optimized or anything. About 5 mil, by the way, from Garnet's bomb. Pretty good. Okay, let's do a Fatal Dance for fun, because it's a lot of damage. Okay, yeah, 10 mil AoE, pretty good. Alright, so watch this. We're on the last turn of force, right? So it's like, oh, the thing's going to be over. But watch this. The gauge is high. We can pop FR Echo. It's going to do a huge attack, going to give us a percent, and we still are going to have another attack after this. So now we can pop this, which is going to do a lot of damage because this is a powerful FR attack. Alright, so what do we get? 12 mil AoE, and once again, and 100% Sonora at 688, that was for free. So now it's like, alright, well, let's pop a summon. Let's throw this damage on top of it. Oh, that's okay, 10% warning, we're good, we're good, we're good. We're good. And there's a 10 mil from the summon. We already killed an enemy, and then we just finish it off. So anyways, guys, there you go. There's Garnet with their FR Echo. Very good character, excellent character. I highly recommend everybody grab her. I think she is worth being in anyone's roster. Once again, especially being early FR Echo, she's going to be a great asset to everyone. So anyways, let me know what you think of Garnet. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.